What's up, everybody? This is Joshua, aka Mr. Everything Man here, wishing you a happy new year. More specifically, a happy 2021. That's right, I am dating this. Um, yeah, so, this video, I don't know how long it'll be, maybe as long as it can be, maybe 30 minutes, I don't know. You know how long it's going to be, though, because by the time it's done uploading, it'll tell you how long it is. So that's a one-up you have on me, because you are from the future. Just blew your mind, didn't I? Anyway, so what's up, time travelers? It's Mr. Everything Man here, with a blast from the past, from the year of 2020. Right now, it is the night of December 30th, morning of December 31st, at look at this, exactly 3:30 a.m. So we have like 20 and a half hours left of the year. So I think it's pretty safe to assume most of it's behind us at this point. Well, yeah, I felt kind of compelled to make this video for a few reasons. Firstly, I made one last year, and so, you know, how hyped I got about that one and how passionate about it I was like, well, people deserve to know what happens next. You know, they're like, well, I wonder, you know, if they'll make a follow-up to it. Well, wonder no longer, because this is the next installment, because it's been another year. In some ways, it doesn't feel like it's been a year since I made that video, and in a lot of ways, it feels like it's been several years. So, it's very conflicting. This year has been pretty much the fastest and slowest year at the same time. It's quite an interesting phenomenon. But yeah, so I was considering making this a Cold Night Chats video, or kind of just having one that would be, you know, the New Year episode. But I kind of feel like making one of those tonight, but it's just not cold outside. It's like 70 degrees. It's tropical. So if it was cold, though, that's what this would be. But because it's not, you get this. So, you know, take your pick, whatever you like better. There have been a few episodes of that, though, this month that I've recorded that I felt that I didn't upload right away because, I don't know, whatever reason, either it was too incoherent or it gave off a vibe that was, in retrospect, was much different or could be interpreted many different ways than how I intended it to be, and I just, you know, figured it wouldn't be worth it or whatever, but I might end up uploading, you know, at least one or two of those. Like, there was like a Christmas kind of episode that was recorded on December, like, 26th or something. It was like a review of Christmas, basically. And that episode kind of rubs me the wrong way, because it kind of gets a little negative. Which is pretty much the opposite of what you'd expect from a Christmas episode, but it just, like, as it goes on, it gets more, like, and in some ways it gets, like, kind of antagonistic. It's sort of me venting my frustrations at a lot of things, which I had no idea that would even come out of me, because I was feeling pretty happy that night. Like, I don't know where that came from. It was pretty good, and I intended for it to be a positive video, and me talking about stuff I like, and things I'm grateful for, and things I'm looking forward to, and all that, you know, like, those were on the bullet points of the agenda of that video, and somehow it ended up being very negative, so I haven't uploaded that one, but I might, I don't know, I'll watch it again and see what I think, and then there's another one where it's just too incoherent, it's just like, what are you doing, man? Like, it's just like, do I really want this to be associated with me? You know, that's what I gotta ask myself. And you might think someone like me, you know, obviously doesn't care about his image, because I make these videos like, you know, like just like yesterday, I uploaded Day in the Life of a Turbo Eel, right? So it's like, this is my image. Joshua's trip, The Visit, you know, the Steve Silverfield videos, like, just to name a few. But, you know, I'm not afraid to get down and dirty or whatever. I mean, the Almost VOI videos, you know, so obviously I'm not afraid to act a fool in front of the camera. That's not it at all. In fact, but I kind of excuse all of that because I'm playing a character, and I feel like the audience knows that for the most part. You know, in those kind of videos, it's like it's introduced as comedy. You know, so it's like I'm allowed to be, you know, silly or a goofball or whatever because it's comedy. It's like a character, right? Like who cares? It's something separate from me. But when it's something where where I introduce myself as Joshua, you know, I'm putting myself out there. It's like so it's supposed to be something where it's a peek behind the curtain. And then if there's a video like that that's just not, I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. My communication's never been my strong suit. I don't really know how to express these ideas accurately, but there was, yeah, so like I said, that one was just incoherent, and just watching it back, I just got the impression, like, pretending I'm not me watching it, right? Like, just a random viewer, I would be saying, like, this guy's an idiot. You know, like what is this guy talking about? What is he on about? Like, why should I care about this? You know? And so it's just interesting where I draw those lines because all the other lava lamp chats videos and cold lamp chats or cold night chats videos and stuff like that, all the ones that are public on my channel obviously pass that inspection. So it's pretty loose standards for the most part. But that's another thing I've been thinking of is just all this accumulated content of private and unlisted videos on my channel, which by far outnumber the public videos. Which is another reason why it might be like, you know, oh, you haven't uploaded in a week or two, what's with that? And it'd be like, well, because it's not that I haven't uploaded, it's just I haven't uploaded anything publicly, because all the creative ideas that I've decided to pursue, when I go back in retrospect, you know, when I go watch them back the next day, I'm like, yeah, I don't, you know, it doesn't make the cut, basically. So I have to be proud of it the next day, basically, for it to go up there. Or just think it's, like, significant enough to where the people deserve to see it, basically, which is how I felt about the first Cold Night Chats video in the beginning of December. I wasn't happy with it, and I was like, this, you know, there was a lot of things about it that bugged me, but I was like, you know what, ultimately, I think it's important that it's up there. So, but anyway, this has nothing to do with anything. So, yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. By the time I upload this, I'm sure it'll be 2021. But seeing as though it's still 2020, I guess we'll go ahead and do a year-end review. Year-end review. No, year-end review. That's better. Okay, let's do a year-end review. A rear-end year view. There's so many. Okay, review of 2020. Here we go. So how was it for me? Because I can't speak to what it was for you, obviously, or for the world in general, because that's for the world to decide. Although I can say that I remember reading somewhere that this year, like, there's like an annual survey, I guess, of happiness that people get. You know, that people take this survey every year of how happy they'd rate themselves. It's one of those things where, like, you fill in the bubbles, you know, and it's like very happy, just happy, neutral, unhappy, or very unhappy, right? And so apparently this year, 2020, the fewest people since the Great Depression, I think, so the fewest people of any year in the last 90 years reported being very happy. So that was kind of sad to me. That made me not very happy hearing that, because I was like, oh wow, you know, is this really that historically significant of a time, you know? So that's what I wonder, is this year going to be one for the record books, you know? Is this going to be like, is this going to be what our kids are hearing about in school, you know? Like my kids, like, you know, 20, 30 years from now. And it'll be like, Dad, is this true? I'd be like, yeah, I was there. I was like, I was your age when all this was going on. Like, so it's always a strange concept because history is always this like abstract concept, right? All these events, it's like you make this distinction where like, yeah, but that was then, this is now, right? And so it's always like, you look back at these significant events and these times and everything from the past, and it's just like, it's fascinating because it's like, oh, well, that's not how things are now. But it's just kind of an overwhelming concept or a baffling concept for me to be like, well, we're living in history right now. What's going on in the world right now is not only significant now, but it might also be significant, forever or for a really long time. And so that's just weird, and it's kind of like it makes me all self-conscious then, like, well, how should I act then, Do I want to get in on this, It's like, well, yeah, I'm not sure I'm really in a position to be getting in on world history right now, but maybe someday. But not for this anyway. I don't know. I'm not really interested in that. But yeah, but I don't want to talk about the world because you hear enough about that. And that's another thing too, another rant I could go on about how much politics is in entertainment, and how much just worldly things in general, pop culture and whatever, like just how much it infiltrates these little niches of society that are, were basically invented to be an escape mechanism from all that, where you don't have to hear, celebrities' names, you don't have to hear about politics, or you don't have to hear about, worldly events or things going on or whatever, and you can just kind of escape into this fantasy world, and now these things are infiltrating that, and it's like polluting it, I feel. Like comedy, stand-up comedy. I mean, yeah, I guess you can argue like, oh yeah, well, vintage stand-up comedy was also political too, and like, yeah, but I just wish it wasn't, I don't want to hear about politics in comedy, it's like, I don't, it just kind of, it defeats the purpose, I feel, and it's like, just on everything, and it's tired to me on social media, on Twitter or on Instagram or even YouTube, it's like all these, influencers have to try to shoehorn some kind of political thing into their persona. It's like, why? It's so unnecessary, it brings me down, because it's like I can't just say like, haha, that was a funny post there, like that was a cool thing, because then as I'm scrolling, the next thing is like something political, or like it's not even funny, like this is like a comedian's account, and it's just got to be like, we got to support this cause, and it's like, I don't know. That kind of stuff just really gets under my skin. I don't know why, but I mean, I guess a lot of people don't have a problem with that, whatever. But it's just something that I've been very aware of in my presence on the internet and everything, is to try my best to stay away from politics and, I guess pop culture and worldly. I mean, as far as pop culture goes, that's such a broad term. It's like inevitably you're gonna have something. But if I do, I try to keep it lighthearted. I don't try to have like a serious message, like I'm trying to recruit people or get people to sign a petition or vote for something, or I'm not trying to make activists out of my followers. Because like I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Yeah, I'm not trying to sell you anything, basically. I'm not trying to convince you of anything, or try to influence your life. I just want to be like a source of entertainment, like maybe a source of escapism, where you can just sort of watch my videos and be like, oh, that was interesting, that was cool, that was funny, that was, entertaining, whatever, or on my other platforms, whatever, it'll be like, oh, that I had a good time with that, I had a little chuckle there, or, that was, interesting, or weird, or whatever. Um, but yeah, so that's another thing too, is a separation of entertainment with seriousness, and worldly things and all that. So yeah, so again, I don't want to, as far as my review of this year goes, I don't want to tackle any of that because that's not, I want to talk about my personal experience because I feel that's what I'm qualified to talk about. And I feel like that's something that only I can say, and a reason why you'd watch my channel specifically for that kind of content. Because anyone can recite a Wikipedia article, basically. That's the way I think of it, Anyone can talk about history. Anyone can talk about, worldly events. Anyone can talk about politics or whatever. So it's like, why me? Why would you single out my channel to hear about that stuff? So that's what I try to do is provide content that you're not going to find anywhere else. Or at least that I can put a unique enough spin on to where I feel it's original. I'm tired of just the same old recycled things over and over again. So anyway, alright, so let's get into it. We're 16 minutes into the video, and let's get into the main goal. I hope the microphone's not picking up the rain, because it, all of a sudden decided to start pouring rain really hard now, just out of nowhere. So, I hope that's not distracting. Okay, anyway, so, alright, so how was this year for me? Well, that's a loaded question. Well, needless to say, there was plenty of time for self-analysis and self-improvement this year. And, in a lot of ways, there was a lot of things I guess I was keeping on the shelf. Just sort of things. And there's a handful of things in particular I'm thinking of while I'm saying all this. Certain thoughts and things that I was painfully aware of for many years, but I just made a conscious effort not to think about, really. And so I was just like, alright, I just tried to distract myself with other things, work, school, family, entertainment, whatever it may be, so that I didn't have to think about these things that made me uncomfortable, And so there were things like, I kind of knew that I would have to address them at some point, because I knew sooner or later something in my life would come up where I had to make a tough decision, or that I needed to look deep inside myself for the answer, And so there was at least one thing like that. And ironically, there's actually been a few similar things since, but there was one very significant instance of that this fall, I guess. Yeah, just over the semester, August to December. It started, I guess, maybe mid-September, and it didn't really sort itself out until the end of November, maybe even into a little bit of December, which is why, I was in the frame of mind that I was in that first Cold Night Chats video at the beginning of December, because I was still kind of working out things from that. And then, a few days after that, I made a follow-up, a week later, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of past that now, But yes, obviously March. To me, March was the beginning of the year, because January and February, as far as I'm concerned, those are part of 2019, because it's the same thing as 2019, basically. It's just an extra 2 months of that. There's really nothing changed, It wasn't until March that it really began to take shape for me. Um, and there were many phases, between the spring and the fall, so many different, phases, I guess. It would be like my lifestyle went through so many changes. Basically, every month was its own, like, groove that I was in. I was still trying to finish up the semester of college I had going. I had started in January, obviously having no idea that, because what happened was we went on spring break, and then we just never came back from spring break because, some stuff went down, well, in that week. March 12th was my last day of class, and that's another thing too. Is there, it was someone in that class, and I was like, my last words were, hey, have a have a good spring break. I was like, see you when we come back, and then I never did, and it's like, yeah, you know what, like you had your chance, man, but in any case, whatever. So that just kind of added to it, but there were a lot of people from there I wasn't ready to just never see again, because it's not like the last day of class. It's just, all right, we're going on spring break now, we'll be back. But anyway, so yeah, and then, we never came back. It just got shifted to online, which was something nobody was prepared for. My one class especially is like, the professor had no idea how to handle it. There was no communication. It's like we went from having a class twice a week to just, there's no video lectures now. There's nothing to click on. There's no resources. There's nothing. So it's like, okay, we're not learning anything from class, but we still have to take these tests on this material we're not even learning about because we don't have class, and you're not putting any videos up on the website or any lectures or anything. It's just like, okay, read the textbook, and which we never had to do. It's bogus. Like, read the textbook and email me if you have any questions, and here are the test dates for the rest of the semester. And we're moving the test to online. And, it's just crap. So I was still finishing that up until the end of April, basically. So during that period, I was focusing on that, and I started working out this year. That was a major thing, which I can't believe I said what I said in last year's video. I'm talking about Let's Talk Motivation and Endurance, which is basically a New Year's video. I made it right at the beginning of the year. It's like, you'd say like, oh, you must work out, right? And like, no, I was like weak as can be at that point, I have no idea what I was talking about. So, and now I can, before you ask, I can deadlift 200 pounds. I actually just found that out today. So it's not, it's not a world record amount or anything, but I like to think it's pretty decent. It's more than my body weight, so that was my goal. I'm still like 5% of an ant as far as that goes. I'm aware of that, but we're getting there. I have no plan. My progress shows no signs of stopping, but I distinctly remember March 16th was the first day I started working out. Because my brother is the one who's the fitness guru around here, and he's he's been working out for as long as I can remember, basically, and he's always, through the years, he's been trying to get me to work out with him. Joshua, you got to come to the gym with me, whatever, But he actually, conveniently enough, he actually bought a whole bunch of equipment and converted a room in our house into a gym. He got a bench and, these machines and the resistance bands and dumbbells and, barbells and, the plates, and he had like the whole padding on the floor, and he got mirrors and chairs and, like all this equipment and everything, like basically everything that a gym would have. It's a full-scale gym in there. And and so he was doing that since like last year, since I think like May of 2019, and he hasn't looked back since. He's like, it's too expensive to go to the gym. I'm just gonna make a one-time purchase and get everything here. So but the thing is, I was like, oh well, I'd want to work out he wanted to work out like at the same time with him, but he's always work out like super early in the morning because he had to work usually during the day, and so I've always been nocturnal. I've never been an early riser, so I was like, I'm not gonna get up at 5 a.m. to work out, like, and then either go back to bed or just be miserable the rest of the day. Like, that's not happening. But of course, in March, because he wasn't deemed an essential worker, it just kind of like it was abandoned. And he was like, well, now I guess I'm just going to be home. And so I was like, all right, well, I can't escape this any longer. He's just going to keep asking me to work out until I say yes. So, I might as well do it. So, and I was also curious. I was like, I wonder what would happen if I started working out. Would I get into it? Would I enjoy it? And I'm so glad I did because, of all the things to get into, I think it's something very healthy. And I think that was the first part in a many-step process of caring about my health, because since then there's been a few key revelations, one of which came to me in October, mid-October. I made the decision to eat a homemade salad every day. And, I say homemade because it's not like a side salad. I put let's see if I can remember all the ingredients. It's kale, spinach, onions, mushrooms, tomato, olives, chickpeas, celery, carrots, yeah, what quality content this is, I know. And a few other things. Radishes. Garlic. And then there's spices. I put sometimes I'll put I have yeast and nutritional yeast and flax seeds and chia seeds too, but we're out of those right now. And then sometimes I'll put like some Mrs. Dash on, but I usually do Italian seasoning, cayenne pepper, black peppercorn, basil leaves, and turmeric. And I'm trying to think if there's any other vegetables. I guess not. And then I do vinegar as the dressing. Sometimes, occasionally, I'll put olive oil on there, but usually just vinegar. And yeah, so I've been trying to eat one of those every single day. I make it from scratch. I've gotten much more efficient at the process. It used to take me an hour to make them, and now it's about 20 minutes. So, and I've just decided to stop eating junk food. And I pretty much have for the most part. When the year started, I was still eating candy. I'd pretty much given up soda, I think, already, but I was still, like, eating candy and sweets and stuff, and especially late at night, which just really isn't good, and everything, and so it was just, like, it wasn't good, my diet, and I was just, like, I feel so much better when I'm healthy, and that never occurred to me. It never occurred to me that life is, like, your quality of life will be so much better if you take care of yourself, if you exercise, if you eat healthy, if you get your sleep, if you reduce stress, if you meditate, if you take care of your mental health and everything. Like, your life will just be so much better. And so I guess that's one thing. This is the year that I got healthy. I'll just say that. Or the year I got started on my journey of getting healthy, because I'm still not there yet, but it's the year that motivated me to get healthy. And I know it's been the opposite for a lot of people. This is the year that a lot of people let themselves go. I know. So it's strange that it can go either way, and for me, that's just how the cards happen to fall. And I guess it's because of my brother, at least as far as the exercise part goes. The nutrition thing was mostly me, I guess. That was just a realization I had one day. When we went to a grocery store, and it was October. You know, it was fall season. They had like pumpkin everything. You know, cakes and ice creams and muffins and cupcakes and donuts and cookies and pastries and all this stuff. You know, and so we stocked up. I was like, oh, let's get this. We got like $200 worth of junk food. And so we took it home, and I had a feast that night. I was just going crazy, just no concern about it, and not reading any of the labels. Like, I just didn't care. I was just, I was just having the time of my life. And so, after a while then, like, toward the end of all that, I kind of, like, I had, like, a come down, I was, like, I became aware of what was going on, and I was like, is this really worth it? Like, you enjoy it for like a few minutes, and then it just stays with you for the rest of your life. And it's poison. You're poisoning yourself, When you eat sugar and things like that, it's just something that your body has to fight off. So I was like, we can probably reach our highest level of consciousness by being healthy. Anyway, I got like 30 seconds on here. So, yeah, in summary, I guess I'll make a separate video wishing you all a Happy New Year. Probably when the year starts. But, 2020, summary, the year I got healthy. I don't know, that would be the tagline. I started working out this year. I tackled a bunch of personal problems and dilemmas and kind of fleshed out my, I guess, moral compass and a lot of decisions like that. A lot of turmoil that was going on from maybe like September to late November, early December. But it's all good now. We're on the other side, and I'm looking forward to next year. So